Okay, I'd like to discuss a game between Bobby Fischer and Mikael Tal, played in Leipzig, 1960. It's a French defense opening a winner, ECO code C17. So the game started out with E4. Black played E6, D4, D5, knight C3. So a couple moves that can be played at this point. There's always knight to D2 and the advance, which is the Tarish variation, the advance variation with E5, the exchange variation with E takes D5. But here white continues knight to C3, leading to the classical or the winnower, and then black plays bishop B4. Then now we actually have the winnower in the French, and play will continue. E5, this is very common, so nothing new here. E5, C5, A3, and then play normally continues. Bishop takes C3 check, B takes C3, knight D7, queen to G4, attacking the G7 pawn. Black castles, bishop to D3, knight on B to D6. That's how it usually continues, but backing up to black's fifth move. So after white plays A3, black's going to play bishop A5, which is not a normal continuation, even though it is found in the game collections or in my database. And then white's going to play B4, and now I've drawn with this move. Obviously black can't retreat the bishop, or it's just going to lose a pawn. And black has the decision of how to capture, or it's going to capture pawn. Should it capture on the D pawn or the B pawn? Well, it captures the B pawn, so C takes B4. Then white has this great move of a knight to B5, which we'll see in other lines, with the idea of coming to D6, checking the king. So very powerful. Now, just to let you know, this is a pawn sacrifice by white, but white's going to get some open lines and attack. So usually black does not decide to take the B pawn here, but chooses to take the C pawn. Now white's seventh move, queen to G4. Once again, it's hitting the G7 pawn, when threatening to win that pawn and the rook there in the corner. So just like the other continuation of the winnower, black's going to play knight to E7. And then how should white continue here? White could take this pawn. It could actually, I guess, take this pawn. It could play with the queen. It could move the knight to here. It could take the bishop. Well, obviously, if the queen takes this pawn on D4 here, black's just going to play knight on B to C6, attacking the queen. With if white plays queen to takes G7, black's just going to play the rook to G8. The only interesting continuation, which actually doesn't pan out for white, which I just covered, it seems like, what a move or two makes a difference. Now if white plays knight to B5, black would continue by bishop to C7, and now if queen, seems like white has nothing better else to do than queen takes G7, rook to G8, queen takes H7, A6, knight takes D4, and bishop takes E5, and it personally looks like black's back in the game, and white doesn't have any type of real advantage here. So probably not the best continuation. So after knight takes E7, or knight to E7 by black, White's going to continue with b takes a5. Now black will take d takes c3. And now queen takes g7. Rook to g8, and just pointing out that now the rook is actually attacking the g2 pawn, not threatening to win it, but it's going to interfere with the development of this bishop here in f1. So now the queen takes on h7, and the threat now from white is, or white's threat, and what black has to worry about now is that this h pawn is passed. So black has to watch for that. So now black on its 10th move will play knight to b to c6, hitting both pawns. Actually, black could have captured this pawn here, but probably not the best move here. Obviously, black wants the castle. If we back up a move, black would like the castle long, so it has to get its pieces developed. So black develops with attack also on the center pawn here. And then knight to f3 by white, developing, trying to castle, defending the pawn here on e5. Queen to c7, once again developing a piece, clearing the pieces so black can castle and hitting the e5 pawn again. Bishop to b5. This seems a little, I just talked before how this was interfering, that back up, that this rook here was attacking the g2 pawn, preventing this bishop from developing. But here white develops the bishop, pins this, since black was threatening to capture the pawn, pins the knight. Now you say, well, why doesn't black just capture? Well, if black decides to capture now on its 12th move with the rook takes g2, white just plays king f1, then the rook has to retreat probably to g8 or g6. I'll play at the g8. And then white plays rook to g1. Now this forces the exchange, and this pawn, the h pawn, now it can definitely march down. So it's even black's even has more problems with the promotion of this h pawn. So probably not the best idea for black to grab that pawn, and instead plays bishop to d7. Once again, clearing the pieces, preparing the castle, breaking the pen. And now white is going to castle, but it probably even has a stronger move, which Bobby Fischer even puts into his notes of this game, is that he should have taken the knight here. And just so you know, how black responds, there's many lines, but if black responds by capturing with the queen or knight, then the moves that are coming are assuming that the moves that are coming by white are bishop to g4. This pawn's going to get promoted. We're gonna castle, and then this rook here is going to come to e1. So what's going to happen from white? So those lines don't work out. The only line that seems to work out is for black, is to play bishop takes c6. White castles. Black plays d4, opening up the line, threatening to win the knight now, since this pawn is pinned. This knight now comes to g5. Queen takes e5. Queen takes e7. King to d7 doesn't work for white, or this turns out to be okay for black. So this is a continuation that can be played. So see, black already played bishop to d7. White's going to castle, and then black's going to castle long, But the other interesting move that could be played is actually, well, looks like I'm out of time for this video, so I'll continue it on the next one.